December the 2024. A man stands at the edge of a Texas launch pad, watching a rocket that could change humanity's future. His companies control how millions of people drive, communicate, and even think about money. He's not just the richest person on Earth. He's building the infrastructure for life on another planet. But here's what they don't tell you. The man who tweets memes at 3 a.m. controls critical defense contracts. The entrepreneur who smokes weed on podcasts has access to more private data than most governments. And the visionary promising to save humanity, he's also been called its greatest threat. This is the story of how one man built a 400 billion empire that spans from the roads we drive on to the satellites above our heads. And why, with each passing day, more people are asking the same question. Has Elon Musk become too powerful to control? 1995. Silicon Valley is exploding with internet startups. But Elon Musk isn't there yet. He's a 24-year-old South African immigrant, sleeping in his office, showering at the YMCA with just one advantage. He sees patterns others miss. Most people thought the internet was a fad. Musk saw it as the nervous system of the future economy. While his Stanford classmates were chasing degrees, he dropped out after 2 days to build his first company, Zip2. Here's what's rarely mentioned. Zip2 wasn't revolutionary. It was an online city guide, basically yellow pages for the internet. Nothing special, except for one thing. Musk convinced newspapers, the New York Times, Knight Ridder, that they needed this technology to survive. At 28 years old, he sold Zip2 for $307 million most people would retire. Musk did something different. He took his $22 million share and bet it all on an even crazier idea, internet banking. A concept so radical that banks laughed him out of their offices. In 1999, he founded X. Yes, the name he'd obsess over decades later. But this wasn't about branding. This was about control. Control over the future of money. Com merged with a competitor called Confinity. You might know their product, PayPal. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Musk was actually fired as CEO of PayPal. The board thought he was too reckless, too obsessed with control. They replaced him while he was on his honeymoon. Imagine that. The man who today runs 6 companies simultaneously, who works 100-hour weeks, who fires executives on Twitter, was once considered unfit to lead. That rejection changed everything. 2002. Elon Musk is 31 years old and worth $180 million after PayPal's sale to eBay. He could buy mansions, yachts, private islands. Instead, he makes 3 decisions that will reshape entire industries. But first, there's something you need to understand. After PayPal, Musk went through what he later called his existential crisis. He started reading obsessively, philosophy, physics, science fiction. He became convinced humanity was in danger of extinction, not from war, not from disease, from complacency. So he asked himself one question: what are the biggest problems humanity faces, and why isn't anyone solving them? His answer? 3 things. We're destroying our planet with fossil fuels. We're trapped on one planet, 1 asteroid away from extinction. We are not advancing fast enough technologically. So, in 2002, with 0 experience building cars or rockets, Musk did something that would make him either a visionary or a cautionary tale. He decided to start both a car company and a rocket company. Let me put this in perspective. The last successful American car company was Chrysler, founded in 1925. The last successful private rocket company? There wasn't one. Experts gave him a 10% chance of success with either company. But here's what they missed. Musk wasn't trying to build companies. He was building an empire with one unified goal: make humans a multi-planetary species. Tesla wasn't about electric cars. It was about energy infrastructure. SpaceX wasn't about rockets. It was about colonizing Mars. Solar City wasn't about solar panels. It was about sustainable civilization. And in 2004, when he invested in a tiny electric car startup called Tesla, almost nobody understood what was really happening. He wasn't joining the automotive industry. He was preparing to destroy it. The global economy is collapsing. Banks are failing, auto companies are begging for bailouts, and Elon Musk is 6 weeks away from losing everything. Both Tesla and SpaceX are hemorrhaging money. Tesla hasn't sold a single production car. SpaceX has failed 3 rocket launches in a row. Investors are pulling out. His marriage is falling apart. Musk later admits he had to choose: save Tesla or save SpaceX. He couldn't save both. The man who would become the world's richest person was borrowing money from friends to pay rent. Then on September 28, 2008, something happened that would change everything. SpaceX's 4th Falcon 1 rocket, their last attempt before bankruptcy, succeeded. It was the first privately built rocket to reach orbit, ever. But Musk wasn't celebrating. He was on the phone, desperately trying to save Tesla. Christmas Eve, 2008. While families were opening presents, Musk was closing the most important deal of his life: a $40 million funding round for Tesla, raised at the last possible hour. He had just $3 million left in the bank. Payroll was 2 weeks away, 2008. But here's the part that reveals who Elon Musk really is. During these negotiations, investors demanded he step down as CEO. They thought he was too risky, too erratic. Sound familiar? This time, Musk refused. And that decision, that refusal to give up control, created the empire we see today. Because 3 days later, NASA awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. Suddenly, the companies everyone thought were jokes were the future. But the real empire, that was still being built. 2012, something strange starts happening. Tesla releases the Model S, a luxury electric sedan that shouldn't exist. Car journalists call it the best car ever made, in any category. But while the world obsesses over Tesla's cars, Musk is quietly building something else, an empire that operates on a completely different logic than normal businesses. Here's what most people miss. Musk's companies aren't separate. They're pieces of an integrated system. Tesla makes electric cars, but it also makes battery technology used in homes, utilities, eventually Mars colonies, solar panels through Solar City, which Tesla acquired, supercharger networks, infrastructure monopoly, self-driving AI, which we'll come back to. SpaceX launches rockets. But it also owns Starlink. 40% of all active satellites orbiting Earth controls critical defense and intelligence contracts, provides internet to disaster zones and war zones. Is building the infrastructure for Mars colonization 2015. Tesla releases its Master Plan, Part 2. Most people think it's a product roadmap. It's not. Create solar roof with integrated battery storage. Expand to cover major forms of terrestrial transport. Develop self-driving capability. Enable your car to make money for you when you're not using it. Read that again. Musk isn't selling products. He's building an autonomous, self-funding energy and transportation network that operates without human intervention. And while regulators argue about car safety, Musk launches Starlink. By 2024, Starlink has over 6,000 satellites in orbit, more than every other company and government combined. It provides internet to 70-plus countries. It's used by the US military. It kept Ukraine connected during the war with Russia. One man controls nearly half of all operational satellites in space. Think about that. But the empire isn't finished. 2016, Musk founds Neuralink, brain-computer interfaces, direct neural connections. The goal? Achieve human-AI symbiosis. 2015, he co-founds OpenAI. Yes, that OpenAI, before leaving due to disagreements about direction. 2022, he buys Twitter for $44 billion and renames it X, the same name from his banking startup 23 years earlier. So now, Elon Musk controls or influences how millions of people drive, Tesla, how the world accesses space, SpaceX, how remote areas access internet, Starlink, how billions of people communicate, X, how AI develops, XAI, his latest venture, and soon, how we interface with computers, Neuralink. This isn't a business empire. This is infrastructure for human civilization, and it's controlled by one person. But here's where the story gets complicated. The same qualities that made Musk successful, the refusal to compromise, the obsession with control, the willingness to ignore rules, are now making him dangerous. Let's talk about what nobody wants to say out loud. Point 1, data control Starlink satellites see everything. Every phone signal, every internet connection, every military movement. Musk has claimed neutrality, but in 2022, he refused to extend Starlink coverage for a Ukrainian military operation. One man made a tactical military decision that affected a sovereign nation's war strategy. Should anyone have that power? Point 2, the Tesla surveillance network. Every Tesla is a mobile surveillance unit, cameras in all directions, constantly recording, uploading to Tesla servers. Over 5 million Teslas on the road. That's millions of cameras, creating a real-time map of everything. Musk says it's for self-driving. Privacy advocates call it the largest corporate surveillance network ever built. Point 3, the town square paradox. After buying Twitter, Musk called it the digital town square. But then he changed the algorithm to boost his own posts, suspended journalists critical of him, reinstated banned accounts he personally agreed with, made decisions affecting elections worldwide. When the town square is owned by one person, is it still public? Point 4, the human cost. Former SpaceX engineers describe 80-hour work weeks. Tesla factory workers report injury rates above industry average, multiple lawsuits for discrimination and harassment. Musk's response, nobody ever changed the world on 40 hours a week. But at what cost? Point 5, the dependency trap. Here's the scary part. Governments are now dependent on Musk's companies. NASA relies on SpaceX for ISS missions. The Pentagon relies on Starlink for communications. Millions of vehicles depend on Tesla's charging network. If Musk's empire collapsed tomorrow, critical infrastructure would fail. We're addicted to his vision. And this is the question historians will ask. Did we give one person too much control over our future? Because unlike government officials, Musk answers to no one. He can't be voted out. He can't be impeached. He can only be stopped by market forces or by failure. But so far, he keeps winning. So, what are we supposed to make of Elon Musk? Is he the visionary who's saving humanity from extinction? The entrepreneur who proved electric cars and private space travel were possible when everyone said they weren't? Or is he something more dangerous? A tech oligarch who's accumulated so much power that he's beyond the reach of traditional accountability? Here's what we know for certain. In just 20 years, Musk built an empire worth over $400 billion. He didn't do it by following rules. He did it by breaking them, sometimes spectacularly. He was fired from PayPal, then became the richest person on Earth. He nearly went bankrupt in 2008, then revolutionized 2 industries simultaneously. He was mocked for electric cars, then forced every automaker to follow his lead. He was laughed at for reusable rockets, then made them routine. Love him or hate him, Elon Musk proved something profound. One person with enough vision and stubbornness can reshape the world. But here's the question we're left with. Should they? Because Musk's empire isn't just about money or companies, it's about control. Control over transportation, control over communication, control over space, control over energy, and increasingly, control over the future itself. The infrastructure he's building, the satellites, the factories, the AI systems, the brain interfaces, they'll outlast him. They'll shape how humanity develops for generations. So the real question isn't whether Elon Musk built the world's most feared empire. He did. The question is, what happens next? What do you think? Is Musk a visionary or a threat? Comment below.